going on, everybody? These mites are back in full force. Right now, Paul was pretty covered. Or maybe I should just start from the beginning. Last week, I came home and Paul was like awkwardly trying to get into his water ball. So of course I recognized that right away. And I looked, and sure enough there was a mite or two in his bowl. And I looked on him, I didn't see any, but then I said, screw it, let me check everyone else. Sebastian had a couple on his body, and Jack had a couple in his water bowl, and none that I saw in his body. Everyone else looked fine. I examined Pretty Girl for like 20 minutes or half hour, because if she is pregnant, it's getting late in her pregnancy. So yeah, that was last week. This week, you looked again, and Paul, I had my mom spray with my Nick solution that I had diluted. It's very diluted. It's it's a 2-ounce bottle to 128 ounces of water, so it's very, very, very diluted. So yeah, I had my mom do that all week for all the cages except for Pretty Girls, because she is pretty pregnant, hopefully. She just put the water bowls in yesterday because you can't really have the water in there when it's being sprayed down all the time. So she put them in there yesterday, and then I came home yesterday, Friday. Right now I was just going to check and clean the waters and do all that stuff. Paul had tipped his water bowl and it was full of water, so it's basically flooded in there, and I put him in the shower. When I took him out, I like to dry him down because he does get water everywhere, and I had about 6 mites in my hands, so I was like, wow, great. So, I bombed his cage, basically. I soaked it in Nick's, lathered him up in it. So then I, checked Pretty Girl again. She doesn't have any. I have had my mom I've had her spray the front of the cages multiple times a day, just in case mites are trying to migrate between cages. They can crawl out from this little gap right here. So we spray the whole front of the cage, wet it. But unfortunately I got to Sebastian, and he is absolutely infested to the max. I've never seen a snake so covered before. Albie was pretty bad, but Sebastian he's just covered, and it's not even like, they're usually under the chin, around the eyes. They are all over his body. So right now I have him soaking in I soaked him for an hour before in just warm water, and now he's soaking in Nick's. His cage, I completely soaked in Nick's. But, before it gets completely out of control, I am getting predatory mites. I think I mentioned this in my last mite video. They've been used. They're used for insects. They're used for, greenhouses. Just to get rid of basically pest mites. I saw a video, I think I mentioned her too. I think she had a ball python and a bearded dragon or something like that had mites, and she was using the predatory mites. I'm not sure if she ever posted a video about how the outcome went, but I I've read a couple articles online, and people have had success. So, before this gets any further out of control, I'm going to just, put a little bit in every single cage just to wipe them out. Because they do, I think it was, for every one predatory mite, they eat, 2 to 5 snake mites or their eggs. So I'm definitely going to get those. It'll be easier because I'm not here during the week to be soaking everybody all the time and cleaning cages. So it'll definitely be a lot easier, a lot safer, because Nix is the chemical in Nix is pretty harsh. It's not terrible in small amounts, but it's still a chemical that's being used on sensitive animals, and they've been exposed to it pretty often. So yeah, I'm gonna use them. Hopefully they work. I'm definitely gonna do some videos on it when I get them. So hopefully it works. If you guys have experience, I think I've asked you guys already, but if you have experience, let me know how it went for you. Don't leave any comments about what to do. Basically, I know what to do. It's just that I don't have time to do it. I'm not here during the week. I'm here Friday, Saturday. So, hold on. So, I don't have, I have 2 days to do all the shit I have to do when I'm home. And, just maintenance, regular maintenance, like cleaning cages and changing waters is a full day thing already. So I really don't have time to take care of a mite problem, the traditional, soaking, cleaning cages every day. I believe, depending on the intensity of the infestation, right now there's only 2 very visual cases. I'm sure that, Jack, maybe Albie and Joao have, or maybe even Pretty Girl. I'm sure they have a couple. It's not to the extent of. Let me see how this is looking. Wow, I mean, God. Do you see the bottom of that? Like, there are so many. It's insane, and the camera's not even picking up some of them. So yeah, I'm gonna take them out. I'm gonna, scrub them down with some regular water so I get the nicks off of them. I'm not gonna feed any of the males this week because their cages are pretty soaked in nicks. But yeah, I'm gonna order the mites hopefully this week. We'll see when they get here. I'll put them in the cage, and hopefully these, I actually started saying it. I think, depending on the, how many mites there are, it could take up to 1 or 2 weeks for the snake mites to be gone. And then once that happens, the predatory mites, revert, God, I can't speak. They turn to cannibalism. There you go. And, their life cycle is about 2 weeks, and usually they're gone within 2 weeks of all the snake mites being gone, because they start eating each other and die of starvation. So it's worth it to me to stop using harsh chemicals, and it'll save my parents and siblings a lot of headaches coming down here and trying to deal with the snakes. They're not nearly as comfortable with them as I am. they won't touch them. So yeah, it gets really hard. So changing the waters is enough work for them. So I'll definitely let you guys know how it works out, and I'll keep you updated. So wish me luck.